I wanted to see if we could take a complete beginner and turn them into a full-time filmmaker. So I took a random person on the internet, gave them some advice on how to shoot better content and land clients, and here's what happened. In the last episode, I asked George to go to our local supermarket to grab some products that we can shoot some content of. So we did exactly that. We also got some nice behind the scenes content, as well as getting him to work with a local business to really build out his portfolio. We're gonna break this video into 3 key sections, the areas that we found the most success for my own video production company in terms of generating sales. We're gonna be looking at Instagram, we're gonna be looking at cold email outreach, and also networking opportunities so that we can get some referrals and more leads to businesses so George can start making some money. But before we do, let me show you some of the videos that we created from the last episode. So you can see that George is starting to build up a really credible portfolio, just using some simple strategies and a low budget to get him noticed with the right businesses and make them want to contact him and get in touch too. And if we were to compare these as like a before and after of what your website and Instagram page looked, you're now starting to look like such a more of an established and legit business that actually people are going to want to work with you. What's your thoughts on like the process so far?
Yeah, I thought it's actually really simple. I thought we've changed a lot, which, you know, I thought my work was great, but, you know, we've made it even better. So, you know, I think now my website is looking a lot more professional, a lot cleaner, and just more on the dot precise. So I like the way it's going.
Awesome. Well, why don't we get you some clients then and start getting you out of the minus figures so you can start making some proper money. Now, when you're reaching out to people, it's often cold, so they have got no idea who you are. And the big mistake people make here is quite simply talking too much. People love to give their life stories on how they came across the brand and all of these amazing things that they can do. They talk about their rates and basically show all of their cards without even knowing if this person's interested. So when we outreach to people, we just want to do one thing. We want to set a meeting with them, and that's it. And we do that simply by just showing interest, saying how you can help, and are you interested in having a quick call with us? And it's really that simple. I've actually got a much more detailed breakdown of this in my free training event, which I'll link in the description below. But for the time being, why don't we draft something together for Instagram so you guys at home and George has got a more of an idea of what they need to say when you reach out to a client. So George created some content for a gin company earlier on, so it makes sense now he's got a little bit of a portfolio in that area to approach other gin companies that might be interested in it, because they're in obviously the same industry. So we've just had a quick flick through Instagram and we've come across Bandman's Gin. Anyway, they look like they could do with some help. They look like they've just started out or haven't been going for that long just by looking at some of the content on their page. But the thing that stuck out to me and George is the lack of video content, but certainly high quality video content and photos. This looks like a small business where they're just taking photos of the bottles as they've created it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is someone who, do you think, could benefit from your help?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's always good, because if you're looking at a company thinking you can't help them, probably wouldn't recommend emailing them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to following them so that they get a notification that we're following them. And then we're going to go straight into a message. I give a few more details on that free training event as well, but let's just dive straight into what are you going to say, because this is the thing that most people struggle with. So what would you say to this company? If it was you doing this right now, what kind of things are you going to say to them?
Firstly, introduce myself. Say that I run a production company that, you know, might be able to help with videos or photo or a bit more professional content for your kind of brand. Then maybe go on to the fact that I've looked at their page and thought maybe give them some ideas on content that could be created.
Okay.
And then I might just leave it at that and see what they come back with.
Okay. So I'm going to be honest, and this is savage, I found that well boring. And the reason I found that boring is because it was very, very long. So I stopped writing content after, hi, my name's George and I run a video production company and I can help with some content, then coming up with some ideas and et cetera, et cetera. Instagram is a really, really good platform for actually practicing your email outreach, because emails aren't limited to characters. And although there's not necessarily a limit on characters here, if you get a big long essay on Instagram, it's going to be huge, right? Yeah. So my biggest bit of advice, to not put you down too much, is just to really keep it simple. The fact that your name is George isn't actually even relevant to them at all. You can just keep that really simple. Hey, I've come across your page. I really like the content. You look like a growing business. Looks like I can help you. Just straight in with how can you help them? Because if I'm on the other end of the, if someone messages me for my business, I've got so many unread Instagram messages because I just don't have time. I've got a business to run as well as like trying to do these things. So I might flick through the odd Instagram message, but you need to put yourself in their shoes. If you're giving me the life story and all of these things, it often comes from a really good place, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to help them. You're trying to sell yourself and say, hi, I'm George, and I can really help you. Like, please believe in me. But sometimes the easiest way of doing that is just keeping it short. Are you interested? Hey, hi, I've just come across your page. Here's some ideas. The ideas thing is definitely valid because they might not be a creative person on the other end. So, hey, I've just come across your page. You look like a growing business. I think I can provide like lots of extra help. Here's some inspiration or something that we can do. Let me know if you're free for a chat. It's a lot more condensed than going down the overthought process of they need to know who you are, because that's how you'd meet someone in the street, wouldn't you? You'd meet someone and be like, hi, I'm Ross. Yeah. Oh, what do you do for work, Ross? Oh, I run a video production company. We do this, that, and the other. A lot of those kind of like niceties aren't needed when we're just wanting to connect with someone. They work really well for a meeting setting, and in a future episode we're going to do a bit of like a role play where we'll go over how to act in a meeting setting and body language and how to tell or build up a really good rapport with those people. But for this, we just want to know if they're interested, because you're going to be sending out probably 50 of these every day, and if you're doing that, you want to keep it quite plain and to the point as well, otherwise it will feel very generic and copy and paste. So if you had to with some of that information that I've just quickly said, what kind of thought process would you have to rewrite in that message? How would you make it more impactful?
I think now that you've said it, I'd be a lot more punchy. I'd say, hi, I like your business. I can help with some of your content. Are you interested? Here's some of my work.
Amazing, yeah, and see, that's so much more exciting to the person at the other end as well. Because again, as creatives, we always forget that other people might not be creative. Hence why when you look at some businesses' social media feeds, you're like, what is this? This is terrible potentially, right? But that's because we're really good at that. That's why we're the experts in that field. But we just need to get that across. Like, hey, we're not looking to waste your time. And don't forget, just like you're building a business and putting a lot of time and effort into that, they're doing the same thing with theirs. So if you can kind of provide some flattery and say, hey, I really like what you're doing, we're really excited about that, then it's going to make them feel like you care, which of course you do, because you want to build a good relationship with them, and that's how you build good rapport. So what I've done now is just I've really quickly written something up, taken into account the things that I said, and then you've just pitched back at me. So I've put, hey guys, just came across your page, and as a gin lover, I really think that we can help you stand out with some creative videos. Would you be interested in a quick chat? And then below that, I'd drop another message just to break it up, and I'd say, here's some examples of my work. That's a lot more powerful, super short, punchy to the point. They'll be thinking, well, he likes gin, so obviously has an understanding of our company. Also is, some creative videos. Yeah, cool. I'm like, you've attracted my attention. I'm intrigued. And then your portfolio below will obviously help that as well. It's worth saying that if you come across a page where they actually have some good photo content, but maybe not enough video, then let them know. Let them know, hey, I think you're doing a really good job with your photos, but I think you can really improve with your videos. I can help you get noticed. I can help you get your product or your service in front of the right people. Because at the end of the day, their business is the same as yours. It relies on sales to get a job done or to grow their business to the next level, okay? So if you create a good video for a company, do you think that it will help them make more sales?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So we need to get that across, because it's in your best interest to help as many businesses as you can. Because if you're helping all of them achieve their goals, then you're equally going to hit your own goals as well. Make sense?
Yep.
Sick. So just like any kind of sales, it's always a numbers game. You're gonna have to outreach to a lot of people before you get some responses. Some people won't reply, some people will say no, and some people will say yes to that meeting or wanna find out more information. So I would say that if you can outreach to 20 to 30 people every single day on Instagram, then you're gonna get some good success out the back end of that. There is one more tip that's gonna help accelerate this growth that I'll reveal later on in this video, but for the time being, let's now move over to emails and come up with another strategy based around that. Now for emails, they pretty much stay the same, but it's really, really important that you find the correct person to email and the correct details. Otherwise, if you're sending an email to like info@ or hello@ or some kind of generic sales email, you're probably not gonna have that much success from it. You should also make it seem like it's not generic by referencing something on their website or referencing something that they've done recently, perhaps in a blog post. I've got an example on screen right now that I'll just read out to you that George and I drafted a moment ago. It says, "Hey Andy, I just saw that you guys won an award at this particular event. Congrats. I'm not sure if you're in a position to take on more work, but after checking out your website, I noticed that there were a lot of improvements that will get more people buy-in from you. One of which is video content, or the lack of it on your website. I'd love to have a quick call to discuss how we could help with the sales and brand awareness. Are you free on Friday? If not, I'll give the office a quick call sometime next week. All the best, Ross." Now, there's a few hidden psychological things in here to really elicit a response, because even if they're saying no, you still want to know. The most annoying emails are the people that don't reply to you, because there's still a potential they might work with you. And I've had this in the past where I've actually emailed a company for longer than 6 months. I chase them up every so often, and all of a sudden, "Hey Ross, is that Ross? Yeah, sorry, I've received some emails from you. We would like to do a video." It's like, I've been emailing you for months and I haven't had any replies, but they've never said no. And sometimes when people say no, they just mean not right now. So you could always give them another email in maybe 6 months' time, see how their businesses have changed, because they might now understand the importance of video content. So to break this email down for you, it's short, it's to the point, and it has a call to action that's gonna make them want to get in touch with you. You'll notice how I also put, "Are you free on Friday? If not, I'll phone the office." Now, I've done this a lot of times in the past, and I might not even have the office number, but people hate being phoned up and being pestered. So if the answer is a no, they will get back to you and let you know, because they don't want you ringing the office. Sometimes you can, if you feel confident enough to do it, pick up the phone, give them a call. "Hey, I'm looking to speak to Andy. Yeah, just dropped him an email earlier on," and hopefully you get through to him. Say, "Hey Andy, I dropped you an email. I can see some room for improvements on your website. Have you got anyone doing your video content at the moment? Would you be free for a quick chat?" or something like that. Maybe schedule in a better time for them if you phoned them up out the cold. But that kind of email ending makes them think, okay, do I want them to phone me, yes or no? Yes, okay, that's fine, they'll reply. No, okay, then therefore they'll reply. And by us doing that, we've got much better response rates for our email strategy. So all you guys need to do is just send this out with a few minor tweaks aimed at your businesses. If you can do around about 20 businesses a day, then you'll definitely be sure to make some meetings. Now I'm gonna move on to networking and networking events and things like that. But at the very end of this video, I'm gonna give you a tip that's really gonna accelerate your response rates for email. So make sure you stick around. So when you're starting a business, or even if you're trying to grow a business, you need to be attending networking events. You can find them just by using Google local networking events, and attend those events that have like-minded business people who are also looking to grow their businesses, because we've already established video content can obviously help other businesses grow. Now, the other thing is, if you're starting out, it's really important to reach out to your friends and family and relatives. So I want to ask you, do you know anyone in your friends or family who either has a business or knows someone who has a business?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so how many people in percentages would you say that you've reached out to in your like immediate network? Is it like, have you reached out to everyone 100%? Is it like 5%? Is it 50%? Is it 10%? Or, how many people?
It's about 40%.
Okay, cool, awesome. So that means there's 60% of people that are still waiting for you to email them. Now, I wouldn't discount the people that you've already messaged within your kind of like friends and relative network already, because we've obviously upgraded your portfolio. We've got you a much nicer website, we've got you an email address, and you might even find that even though there are friends and families and connections there, that they're also just thinking about, well, you know, how seriously is he taking his business, you know, and those kind of things. So now we've done your website and things like that, make sure you get back in touch with them to kind of say, hey, you know, I've just updated my website, you know, just want to retouch on the situation now, because they're going to look at you in a much different light. And I can be completely honest here. I feel like I've said for years, like my family always just think like I'm a person, like I just take some photos for a hobby, and it's like, no, I've got like a full team of people working for me in a business. But until we had our launch party for the opening of the studio, I swear to God, they literally just thought I was just still someone taking photos. So I can guarantee that the same is happening for you. So make sure you really push that, because ultimately, if they trust you, referrals are going to be the strongest thing. You've already built up a rapport. So it just comes down to a question of, do they need that work, yes or no? And you should definitely be guaranteed some more work through that strategy. Now, there's no doubt that we get into filmmaking because we're creative and we enjoy creating content, and the business side of things can be quite boring, but it's so imperative to the success of your business. I often say I don't think I'm the best filmmaker in the world, but I've been able to create a really strong and stable business, which is obviously what I'm advocating on this channel, and obviously you're trying to help as many people come up and build a successful business that can stand the test of time, as well as obviously just creating really good content. Now, there is one thing that's going to help with this, and it's something that so many people forget, is they do the email outreach and they say, Ross, I haven't got any replies, and I say, have you been chasing those people? And they say, oh, I didn't realize I was meant to chase them. You need to make sure you're following these people up. Normally leave it 3 days before you send a follow-up email. If you haven't heard anything in another 3 to 5 days, send them another email or give them a call. I would normally try to contact someone maybe 4 or 5 times before I completely dropped that lead, depending on how important I thought or how likely it was that I thought that they were going to buy from me. So whether you put it in your calendars to make sure you chase these people up, or you just become really regimented with your structure of your time routine, you need to be outreaching, and then you need to be chasing it up, because remember, if they haven't replied to you, there could still be a job out there waiting for you as well. The thing is, if you really want to get more clients and take your business up a level, then there's one thing you have to combine with this strategy. And that's why you really shouldn't ignore this next video, because it's going to take what you've just learned and accelerate it by 100. And if you've got no idea on what you should be charging clients at the moment, then this video is going to reveal all.